This is all Alyssa's fault.
All right, we are back on the record in the matter of Lynn Siegel versus the City of Boulder. Specifically, we are here for a suspension hearing, a suspension from the Tate Building. My understanding is that suspension is for 60 days and was imposed back on the 23rd of January. So, Ms. Siegel, I think you've been here before for a hearing like this, but I'm going to go over a few things. So ultimately, the suspension, the city's right to suspend somebody is under the authority of Section 5518 of the Boulder Revised Code. And that allows the city manager's office to suspend someone from any city facility if that person has violated any provision of the code, an ordinance, order of the presiding officer of the meeting, or other law or rule properly issued by the city manager, or other rule of law properly issued or posted on the premises by the city manager, if the person's conduct is a hazard to the health, safety, and welfare of users of or visitors to the facility. So that is what I'm here to decide today. And that is what the evidence needs to pertain to. So, whether or not there was a rule that was violated, if so, some of the rules require posting or properly issued, and then also whether or not the conduct is a hazard to the health, safety, and welfare of users or visitors to the facility. So when a person is suspended, they have the right to request a hearing to occur within 10 days. And I will note that you timely requested a hearing, and the hearing is timely occurring. So the city must prove here today by preponderance of the evidence that the suspension is proper and that the length of the suspension is proper. If yes, I would uphold the suspension. If no, depending on what it would be no to, then it would be either perhaps revising the length of the suspension or vacating the suspension, setting it aside. So that's sort of how the process generally works and what we're here to talk about today. In terms of the procedures of how things are going to go, first of all, the city has the burden of proof, so they ultimately get to go first on everything. What'll happen first is each side, city first, you second, would have the opportunity to make opening statements, which is just short discussion of what you think is going to come into evidence today. It's not argument. It's just, I'm going to, the evidence is going to show X. Then the city would begin its case. They're going to call whatever witnesses they have, and they will ask the witnesses questions. Then you would have the opportunity to also ask those witnesses questions. It's called cross-examination. After they go through all of their witnesses with them asking questions and then you having that opportunity as well, they would rest their case. At that point, if you so choose, you can also put on a case. You don't have to, they have the burden of proof. But if you want to put on a case, then you would call your witnesses, whoever those folks might be. You would ask them questions. The city would then have the opportunity to ask questions or cross-examine. And then once you get through your witnesses, you would rest your case. After that comes closing arguments. City would go first, you would go second, and then the city gets the last word, again, because the city has the burden of proof. So the city would go, you would go, and then if the city wants to respond to anything that you said, they get to go a second time. Does all that make sense?
Yeah, I make my case.
You don't have to. They have the burden of proof. Right. So you don't have to put on anything. If they put on their case and they don't prove their case, then you win by default because it's their burden to show that the suspension is proper and the length is proper.
Yeah, but how do you decide without hearing both sides?
You can put on a case if you want. For instance, if they forgot the date of when whatever occurred or allegedly occurred, then they wouldn't have put on a proper case. Does that make sense?
Okay.
And I would have to decide in your favor because it's their burden.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions for me?
I'm sure I have a million. I'm an ultrasound technologist. I'm not in the field of.
I understand that. And, we try to make the court as friendly as we can for folks who are non-lawyers. The other thing you should note is that this is a quasi-judicial hearing. The court is sitting here as the appointed authority in the city to review these types of cases. When a city agency has made a decision that a person has the right to appeal, the court has been issued as the appellate officer for that. And that's why we're here. But all that said, it's not a court case. It is a quasi-judicial hearing, which means it's court-like, if you will. And the rules of evidence don't apply strictly. So
It's quite Joe.
Ms. Huff probably make some arguments if you do present any evidence about maybe something's not relevant, and then we'll talk about all of that. But the rules of evidence don't apply strictly in a case like this. So all of that said, I fully understand you are not a lawyer. Again, we try to make these types of proceedings as friendly and as user-friendly, I should say, as possible, so that everybody is given a fair chance to lay out their case to the extent they want to. All right, anything else?
Could I ask if they got my email that describes, I spent 2 days writing up.
I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to ask you to pull that microphone close to your mouth, the one sitting on the table, just because you're very soft-spoken.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I thought that was the problem, that I'm too loud spoken. Whatever.
Well, at that moment, you were being soft-spoken. So did you want to ask your question again?
Let's see. Oh,
Something about an email that took you 2 days.
the document that I was given for the suspension is embedded in another long email. It's one email.
The court does
I want to
not.
know if Krista got. I sent it into Ogden. and
I don't know if she got
I
it.
wanted Krista to have it because it's the reputation that I had of every single item that I was accused of.
I don't know.
And it
Ms.
was
Huff, do you want to respond to that?
Sure, I have
It's highlighted.
I've received a few different emails from Lynn Siegel. And I believe I did receive the email she's referring to that's quite lengthy. Yes, I did.
Okay.
Okay, and then before we get started, Ms. Huff, you had addressed off the record a few moments ago something about how you would be referring to Ms. Siegel. If you would please repeat that on the record.
Yes, so I was able to speak with Lynn Siegel prior to the hearing getting started this afternoon, and she has requested that we refer to her as Lynn and not as Ms. Siegel. That's her preferred name. So just for the record, if the court is all right with that, I'll be referring to her as Lynn as requested, but not as an informality.
Understood, and I appreciate that. We always strive to refer to folks by the name that they prefer, I should say. I will probably mess that up myself, and I almost just called you Ms. Siegel again, just because that's my default. So if I do, I apologize in advance. I will strive to refer to you as Lynn.
As will I. In my notes, I have written down Ms. Siegel because I did not anticipate this, but I will do my best as well.
Thank you, Ms. Huff.
Could I ask one more thing?
Sure.
Because I'm searching through the list of people I copied. And did Chris get it also? I know Selena did. Did you, Chris?
I don't know if the court wants the witnesses to answer at this point in time, but both of these witnesses, at least one of them will be testifying, and Lynn may be able to ask that question during that time.
And I agree with that. So Lynn,
I just want everyone to be on the same.
I understand what you're saying, but there is some formality to the proceeding. And what Ms. Huff just was explaining is that when she puts her witnesses on, that's the appropriate time to ask a witness that question. And I agree with what she said there. So, okay. All right, let's begin. Opening statement, Ms. Huff.
Thank you, Your Honor. I believe the evidence today will show that the city properly suspended Lynn from the Penfield Tate Municipal Building as a result of a couple of interactions that she had with the staff there on January 21st, 2026. The testimony will reveal that there were raised voices, yelling, requests to quiet down, repeated assistance to Lynn to try and help her address the issues that she was bringing to their attention throughout the day. And because of the repeated requests for the same assistance she had asked for previously over the course of the day, this disrupted staff from being able to carry out their other responsibilities that they had, to the point where police responded to the building 2 times on that day, one of which where Lynn was escorted off of the property and then returned later with the same request that had already been addressed to the extent possible earlier that same day.
Oh, I bet she's
The
fun.
court will also be able to view a few portions of the body-worn camera footage from the officers that responded that day that similarly reflect some of the raised voices and yelling that was disruptive to the staff. And under
Body cam.
the revised code, section 5518, the city manager had the authority to suspend Lynn from the building because of those disruptions in violation of the rules that govern the conduct of all patrons within the building that posed a hazard to the well-being of the staff that day or the welfare of the staff
She was a
that
naughty,
day
naughty girl.
by prohibiting them from being able to carry out their functions.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Huff.
She
Ms.
prevented a
Siegel,
lot
I'm
of
sorry,
fun.
Lynn, did you want to make an opening statement?
Yeah, none of this is correct and it's out of context and the timing is.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. So it's
Everything she
the
just
opening
said was
statement
bullshit.
is not argument, which is what you're making now. What it is you saying what you think the evidence is going to show. Not that you disagree with what she just said. You don't have to
The
make an
evidence is going to show that this was a non-event, that I asked some questions and I have a right to ask some questions and I have a right to repeatedly ask questions because time elapses over my inquiries and things might change. In other words, Nuria might be available. And so I asked on multiple occasions if she was available because I was just waiting around there until she was. Because I've been waiting for 459 days for a response about my retrofit. So I can know where I stand at least.
Okay, and that was perfect. That's what you think the evidence will show. So
Yeah.
thank you for that.
Yeah,
And
that was
just so
perfect.
you
That
know,
was
I'm
great.
not paying attention to you. I am taking notes down here. So even though I'm not looking at you, it's because I'm listening to you.
Thanks.
I realize that you probably didn't realize that, and I didn't want you to think I was being disrespectful or not attentive. Okay.
I'll handle the disrespect around here, Judge. I applaud you for that opening statement. You have made it clear to all of us that you are a Karen operating at the basic bitch level. Let's carry on, shall we?
All right. Ms. Huff, you may call your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The city will first call Chris Meschuk to the stand.
Good afternoon, Mr. Meschuk. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, please be seated.
you for joining us today, Mr. Meschuk. Can you please state your name and spell your last name for the record?
Sure. My name is Chris Meschuk. My last name is spelled Meschuk.
Thank you. Where do you work?
I work for the city of Boulder.
And what is your title?
I serve as the deputy city manager.
And how long have you been in that role?
I've been in this role since January of 2020 and with the city for this will be my 21st year.
What are some of your duties in your current role?
In my role as deputy city manager, I help support the overall administration of the city of Boulder. I supervise a set of city departments. Part of my duties also include supporting functions of the city manager's office, including our customer service and administration team. So I supervise the folks that then ultimately lead our front desk operations in the Penfield Tate II municipal building.
And do you work at the Penfield Tate Municipal Building?
I do.
And that's located at 1777 Broadway Street in Boulder, Colorado.
That is correct.
And I believe you just mentioned that you supervise the employees that work at the front desk area in that building. Is that right?
That is correct. I supervise the supervisor of our administrative and customer service team.
And can you explain some of your functions in that supervisory role of that department?
Sure. As the person that supports the team that provides our customer service and administrative functions of the city manager's office and the building. So that includes setting kind of the overall direction of how that team will conduct their work. If they need assistance in solving problems or answering questions, I will assist in that. And then if there are times where there are disruptions in the building that occur, I help respond to those disruptions.
And what are some of the responsibilities and duties of those employees in the front desk area that you supervise?
So the duties of our customer service administrative team include providing customer service to anyone that walks into the building. So that's answering questions. We just recently also took on the functions related to parking permits in the city. So customers that come in with parking related questions. And we're kind of the front desk for the whole city. So we end up getting kind of all the different questions that come in to the city, as well as for we're the reception for the city manager's office department as well. So there are duties related to the administration of the city manager's office, so supporting all of the different functions of the department and scheduling appointments or kind of handling communications for the department as a whole.
Were you working at the Penfield Tate building on January 21st, 2026?
I was in the building all day.
And is the Penfield Tate building open to the public during business hours?
It is open to the public from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Thursday.
And is it important for the employees at the customer service front desk area of the building to be free from distractions or disruptions?
It is.
And why is that?
It's important for both their ability to serve any customer that comes into the building that has any questions. In addition, they have a lot of job duties, as I described, that are beyond just that front counter customer service support. And so they need to be able to conduct all of their job duties, including those that they perform from their desk, which is not directly connected to the front counter.
Are there rules that govern the conduct and behavior of individuals who come to the Penfield Tate building?
There are.
And are these rules posted in the building?
They are.
Where are they posted?
They are posted in the entrance vestibules on both the north entrance of the building and the south entrance of the building. So as you're coming in, they're posted in both English and Spanish. And then they are also posted at the top of the 2 sets of stairs into the city council chambers. So there are a total of 4 sets of signs in the building.
So would it be possible for someone to enter that building without passing by those rules?
It is not possible to enter the building from any public entrance without passing those signs.
And if someone does not abide by one or more of those rules, what can happen?
If someone violates those rules, there is the possibility and the potential of being suspended from the facility through the authority granted in the Boulder Revised Code. That typically is a bit of a action of last resort.
Was there someone who failed to comply with those rules on January 21st, 2026 at the Penfield Tate Building?
There was.
And was that Lynn Siegel to my right here?
It was.
Bear with me here. I'm going to try to publish one of the city's exhibits. Okay, and Mr. Meschuk, I'm going to direct your attention to the screen right behind you. Feel free to just turn your chair all the way so that you can see that. I'm now showing you what's been marked as People's Exhibit number 1. Do you recognize this document?
I do.
How do you recognize this document?
This is a suspension notice for the Penfield Tate, the second municipal building, and it's the suspension notice that we issued to Lynn Siegel after her actions on January 21st.
She got booted from the Penfield Tate Municipal Building. That's pretty low. That's pretty low.
And I'm going to have you turn back around to review the rest of this content here. Does this appear to be a true and accurate copy of the suspension that was issued to Lynn for the incident on January 21st, 2026?
It does.
Your Honor, the people moved to admit Exhibit 1 into evidence.
Lynn, any objection?
No,
Exhibit 1, People's Exhibit 1 is admitted.
Mr. Meschuk, what is the title of this 4th page here that I have my mouse underneath?
The title of this 4th page is a copy of the City of Boulder Rules of Conduct for any facility owned or managed by the city.
And are these the same rules that are posted at the Penfield Tate Building's entrances?
They are.
Can you please read number 20, rule number 20 there on page 4? Let me move it up here.
Rule 20 states any conduct that obstructs, impairs, or hinders the performance of a government function by an elected official or public servant.
And is this the rule that Lynn is accused of violating as a result of her actions on January 21st, 2026?
It is.
Are there any other rules to your knowledge that she's accused of violating from that date?
This is the rule that she was cited as violating.
So I'm going to turn to the actual day now and ask you questions about what happened. About when did Lynn first arrive at the building on January 21st, 2026?
It was right around noon, right around 12 o'clock.
And can you describe what happened when she first arrived?
When she first arrived, she interacted with our staff in trying to meet with the city manager. And it was trying to resolve that. and our staff informed her that the city manager was not available for an appointment today,
Karen wanted to talk to the
that day.
manager.
And that the best way to try and schedule
Got
an
her ass
appointment with the
booted.
city manager is to send her an email. And Ms. Siegel Lynn has done that many times before. And that there was not the possibility of being able to schedule an appointment on the spot there, or for her to be able to meet with her that day.
And how did Lynn respond to that information that she could not meet with the city manager right then on that day?
The response kind of escalated over the interactions. And so it quickly escalated to the point of yelling at multiple staff members, and them explaining that yelling was not okay, and that she needed to lower her voice.
Yelling is not.
And at a certain point, she did go and sit down in the lobby. One of our staff members also went out into the lobby, where then they were yelled at again. So they came back into the office area behind the front counter desk. So the interactions escalated to the point where then my staff explained that if yelling continued, we were going to have to call the police, because this behavior was not okay. And ultimately, we did call the police.
Okay.
Anybody ask her?
I believe you mentioned that there was quite a bit of yelling when this happened. Do you recall what Lynn was yelling when she was told she cannot meet with the city manager right then?
There were multiple times that yelling occurred in that first visit. And some of it was the desire to meet with the city manager. She also was expressing that she was cold, that her home was cold, and that she had been waiting a long period of time to try and resolve the issue with the heating in her home.
And the staff that was trying to help her with these issues that she brought to the city, or requests that she brought to the city, were they doing their best to assist her?
I believe that they were doing their best to assist her, and that they were not responding to yelling with yelling. They tried to lower their voices and to try and explain in a calm way that one, yelling was not okay, and then two, that we had already answered her question and her request of trying.
Inside voice, Karen. Inside voice. You know, my only question is, did anybody ask her the obvious?
Ma'am, are you a whore?
That's what really needed to happen.
To meet with the city manager, and that she had the instructions on how to be able to do that.
Was the yelling that was going on disruptive to staff beyond those who were trying to help her in the immediate vicinity?
There was the yelling interrupted there were 3 staff members that were present in the kind of front office area. All 3 of them were working to try and assist Lynn, and so they would almost kind of rotate who was trying to assist. In addition, there was one interaction with Lynn when she was at the counter, where she actually leaned over the counter and was like in the face of one of my staff. And so that kind of close interaction, the staff then felt like they had to create more distance from the counter based on that interaction. And then I heard from several staff members who work right around there and kind of down the hallway that could hear that interaction happening that day.
And just to paint a picture for the court, when you enter into the Penfield Tate building, there's the front desk where patrons go up to immediately to address some of their issues. And then are there desks and offices directly behind that desk?
That's correct.
Okay, and people would be working there and trying to complete their tasks.
Correct.
And the yelling was disrupting those employees.
it was the three employees that were at those desks directly behind the front desk. All three of those employees were not able to complete all of their tasks that day due to the disruptions that were occurring.
I believe you mentioned that Lynn was warned that if the yelling continued, police would be called. Is that right?
That's correct.
And how did Lynn respond to that warning?
My recollection of that when she responded to that was that her behavior continued, and to the point where then we did call the police because the yelling and the repeated asks of the same request that we had already answered had already happened.
Right. And before I move on too far, you mentioned that Lynn had kind of leaned over and gotten pretty close to one of the staff members trying to assist her.
That's correct.
Okay. Was that staff member worried for their safety when that happened?
She was. At least that's what she described to me.
So then, after Lynn did continue with her actions and elevated voice or yelling, were the police called?
They were.
Okay, and after the police were called, what did Lynn do?
So Lynn was still sitting in the lobby of the building, and as the police were called, and I may have to check the notes to make sure I have the exact timing right, but she would also, sitting in the lobby, she would call the telephone number for our office, which rings to the same staff that are sitting there and are the ones that answer the desk. And so there were multiple occasions where they were talking to her on the telephone when she was sitting right outside the office in the lobby of the building as well. So the kind of the interaction occurred, both her trying to call us and come up to the desk, and if no one's sat at the desk, there's a little bell to ring. So she would ring the bell. And so that was part of the interaction back and forth that occurred up until the point where the police officers arrived.
Okay, so just to make sure I'm understanding correctly, Lynn was in person requesting to meet with the city manager, among other things, repeatedly. And after being warned that the police were going to be called, she sat down in the lobby and started calling that same front desk to speak with the same individuals.
Correct. That's my recollection.
And when she was on the phone with those same staff members, was she making any new requests, or were these the same requests that had already been addressed previously?
My recollection is it was the same request, the desire to meet with the city manager.
And were the repeated requests disruptive to the staff members?
They were. We had answered the question and explained what the next step possibility was in order to try and get an appointment with the city manager. And yet the repeated requests held them back from being able to complete their other job duties for the day.
With me one moment. Did the police arrive after they were called by staff?
They did.
And I'm going to direct your attention to the screen behind you again there. I'm now showing you what's been marked as People's Exhibit number 2. And Your Honor, can I play a few seconds of this video to lay the foundation for its admission into evidence?
Do you have any objection, Ms. Lynn?
Oh, no.
Alright.
It proves my case.
Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Hope.
And would the court like for me to unmute my computer? Or will the sound come on when I press play?
I think the first minute of these things does not have any sound.
Okay, I'll play.
Yeah,
That's
video
always
people.
been my experience.
Okay.
Oh, this is hot. Hot video of the Boulder Municipal Building. Only on Vlog Talk with Mike.
That's check. I just paused it here after about 10 seconds. Do you recognize what I'm showing you?
I do.
And how do you recognize this?
I recognize this as body worn camera footage from a Boulder police officer from January 21st. And it says they're walking up to the entrance of the Penfield Tate II Municipal Building.
And have you seen this footage before?
I have.
And does this appear to be the same footage you've reviewed previously?
It does.
And does this appear to be a true and accurate video of the encounter between the officers and women on January 21st, 2026?
Yes, I believe so.
Your Honor, the people move to admit People's Exhibit number 2 into evidence.
Lynn, do you have any objection?
No, it's great evidence. That's the whole.
Just yes or no? Just yes or
Yes,
no?
yes.
All right, that is admitted. People's Exhibit 2 is admitted.
And I, for the record, am moving into about 1 minute and 20 seconds into the video where audio should play, at least from my computer. Would the court like for me to unmute my computer?
It's been admitted into evidence, so whatever's on there.
I
should
just
be
mean as
played.
far as audio issues in the courtroom. I want to start that.
Oh.
If
If I started, it's going to do that too.
I could play it and see.
I bet if you got out of the Zoom meeting, and then it would not do that, would be my guess. It's a Zoom function.
Okay. And then just play it from my computer.
Yes, because I can see it here and it's also up on the screen. So
That is because I'm in the Zoom session right now.
oh,
I can unmute my computer and see if
let's see.
it makes some rough sounds.
I wasn't thinking about that. Is that noise I'm hearing? Is that the video?
That is the video, but it's from my computer. I could hand up the flash drive to the clerk and
Let's try this. If I turn my microphone off, let's see if that solves the problem. Okay, are you playing it? No.
not quite yet.
Hello? Does not solve the problem. That's interesting. We haven't had this issue before. We probably will have to go with a flash drive.
Not a problem. Let me just eject that and I can hand it out to clerk.
Are you able to play that from your computer and have it up here on screen? If you plug your computer in?
I can, I just don't know if I have the equipment to have it publish up on the screen there from here or anywhere in the courtroom.
How have we done this before?
When you shared, Krista, did you share audio when you did your share screen?
Let's see. See if that does it.
I recall Chris Reynolds talking about how he had to share sound.
You're right, I see that option here. So let me share sound.
I worked on this for 2 years.
Is the heat not working?
So the sound is on my computer as well as the screen.
Okay, and that does work because it is, the recording is picking it up. I did see when you spoke, and I imagine if I spoke or Lynn spoke or Mr. Meschek spoke, we would have that reverberation. So let's just play the video without anybody talking.
Okay, and I will, I should be able to just turn my volume down all the way on my computer, and then hopefully it will still play on the screen.
That would be great.
I've already emailed.
Hi.
No, I need her text.
How you doing, Lynn?
Terrible.
Can we help you with anything?
I'm freezing cold.
I bet. Yeah, it's chilly outside.
43 degrees in my house. I worked on this for 2 years.
Is the heat not working?
The city of Boulder did a retrofit on my place
Okay.
that I won't use because I can't afford to pay the Xtel bill to run resistive heat in my house.
Mm-hmm. And what did the city do? They did
Nothing.
a
For
retro?
2 years.
No, you said a retrofit? Is that what you said?
Retrofit, energy retrofit.
What does that mean? Exactly, I don't understand what
That
that means.
means make electric in my house.
Like redo.
Electrified versus gas.
Okay, I got you. And the cost is just too much now? I would believe that. Excel has gotten out of hand. What else can we help you with? Unfortunately, I mean, that seems like
All
something I
due
can't.
respect,
Yeah.
there's nothing you can do to help me.
Okay. Well, they called us because I guess you were causing
All I can
commotion.
do is scream,
Mm,
just scream. And I can't, they don't let me scream.
no, they don't like screaming here. This is a place of quiet business.
I've tried email
Mhm.
constantly.
Is that who you were on the phone with right there, trying to get a phone number for somebody?
Yeah.
Who were you
A
trying to
text
get?
for
Phone?
Nuria.
A text?
Yep, a text number. I email her, I call her, I see her at meetings.
Yeah. I don't think the city manager necessarily has control over the electric man either in the city, you know. I think that might be
No.
more of a
I want to meet with her. I want the city to sue the county for gaslighting me on my retrofit.
mhm.
And the reason was, get this, that I did a retrofit 10 years ago with the county. And in the process, they provided me a list of vendors. And I talked extensively with one of the vendors, Stellar. And when I spoke to Stellar, after that, I called the county and I said, Stellar was great. And he said, sorry.
I believe there was a little feedback there, but I will ask you a couple questions about the video so far and see if we can return to it without audio issues. Do you recognize the female in that video?
I do.
And is that Lynn?
It is.
And I'm moving my cursor up here to the top of the video. Can you see what time that video was captured at?
It looks like that's currently reading 12:08 p.m.
And about how long had Lynn been there by the time that the police were arriving and interacting with her?
I'm not sure I remember the exact amount of time because it was a little before noon that she arrived into the building.
Would you say about 20 to 30 minutes?
If I were to estimate it, that would be a good estimation of 20 to 30 minutes, maybe.
And did you see at the beginning of this video, was Lynn on the phone with someone?
That is what it looked like to me, is when the officer walks into the building, Lynn is on the telephone.
Do you know if she was on the phone with one of the staff members there at the Penfield Tate building?
That's what it seemed like based on the response that she gave, was that she was calling to try and get, I think, a cell phone number for the city manager to be able to text her, is what I heard in the video.
And had that request already been addressed before the police had arrived?
Yes, the way to schedule an appointment with the city manager had already been covered multiple times.
With Lynn?
Correct.
On the same day?
You can't object to his testimony unless it's a legal
You
objection.
didn't answer the question.
Do you want to
You
re-ask
answered
the
a different
question?
question.
That's a fair objection.
Sure,
So that objection is sustained.
I'll ask again. So Mr. Meschuk, had the city staff already let Lynn know, or had already addressed her request for a phone number that she could text her at?
Yes, they had.
I'm going to attempt to play the rest of this video. And we'll see how it is.
Mm-hmm. So do you technically live in the county?
I live in the county and in the city,
Yeah, where is your address, Lynn?
538 Dewey
Oh, down south?
Central.
Okay.
Maxwell,
Yeah.
Mapleton.
Oh,
Maxwell,
that one. Sorry, I was thinking
yeah.
it was that one.
Yeah.
South
what?
Broadway.
There's only one Dewey.
No, what's that?
It's only
There's
a
another one
block
down
long.
there. Anyways,
Yeah.
so they're just, so the only time you can really reach a city manager or speak to them is at the public forums. Unfortunately, this Thursday, they don't have a
I've
public,
been there, I've done that. She might walk in or out.
so,
I'm completely overwhelmed. There's nothing else I can do. I've waited 2 years. I've waited 446 days.
Mm-hmm.
I need to meet with her
so,
and see what's happening. My life is in total flux from this.
so
I
unfortunately, she's
didn't
not
tell
gonna
you
meet
what
with you, Lynn.
happened, okay? What happened with the county was they dumped that contractor. They wouldn't tell me why.
Mhm.
Don't you wonder why? I guess you have no curiosity.
So right now, all I'm worried about is that they want you out of the building, so you're gonna have to leave. That's really the only concern I have right now, okay? The next public forum is February 5th or 6th, 4th, whichever week that is. Unfortunately, this Thursday, they don't have the public forum.
I can't get out of here fast enough.
Okay. You can definitely go over to the
Your
library.
problem solved.
Thank you.
I'm going to where Nuria is going to be. I am waiting for her.
Yeah, but
I would
that's-
like to wait here for her
So you can't,
because I can't text her. I call her. I set up meetings with her. She won't meet. She doesn't call back. I know nothing
so
for
there's-
446 days. Use your empathy and listen to that. I'm freezing cold. I can't get out of here fast enough to save you the trouble because you don't deserve this. You deserve this.
I do apologize for.
Sorry, I'm all out of empathy.
This isn't the way
There's
to
nothing.
approach it, okay?
What is email, phone, letters, showing up 2 days at the,
And like you said, there might
At
not,
the
this might not be the right
council
avenue to
retreat.
speak to her. Because you can sue them
how
directly.
am I gonna do that?
You can
No.
sue them directly.
No, I can't.
When-
I can't afford it. I'm practical.
Yeah,
freezing,
being poor.
freezing cold, 72 years old. But you don't have to worry about it because I'm out of here. I wish I were dead.
I'd suggest maybe getting a job.
Just go about your day and you're fine.
Would you like one of our chief managers to follow up with you?
Nope. There's nothing anyone can do. I know you feel bad, but I feel worse.
through though, to help you maybe
Nope.
navigate?
Nope.
Okay, well.
I'm out. I'm out. Your problem solved. I'm sorry.
I have an objection. The date is, the time is incorrect.
Well, that's testimony, so you can address that on cross-examination.
Was there some AI done with this tape or something? That's incorrect.
Well, you can address that with Mr. Meschek when it's your turn to ask him questions.
Oh, sweet Jesus. Did she just
So
say
maybe you might want to make a note that you want to ask him about that.
this is an AI deep fake? Ain't nobody got time for that.
Do you need some paper? You have some right there, Miss. Thank you, Miss Huff.
Clearly, she needs mental health assistance. That's what we've got here. No choice
May I
about it.
play the rest of the video?
Certainly.
Sometimes you just gotta let it out.
Ah. I wonder what her
Some of the
politics are.
audio issues. I'm just gonna review some of this video with you.
Okay,
to
just kidding. I
clarify
already know.
things. Was Lynn yelling in that video?
At the very end of that video, as she is outside exiting the building, you can hear her scream twice.
And Lynn's voice, was it raised in the video a few different times when she was speaking with the police?
There were several of the interactions that we saw in that video where her voice was raised or like almost
yes.
to that point of really yelling. As she
The
was
Helen
sharing,
Reddy scenario.
a little bit of her story and sharing that she was cold.
And was that interaction with the officers and Lynn, was that disruptive to the staff at that point in time as well?
The lobby of the building is a pretty quiet place. There are times where customers come in and are conversing with our staff, but there typically is not raised voices in the building. And so there were several occurrences that we saw there in the video where there was raised voices that were occurring from Lynn.
And that disrupted the staff?
You know, Lava spent some
Correct.
quality time in that building.
Staff are then sitting at their desks right behind that front desk trying to get their work done.
And the volume that you heard Lynn's voice in the video at, was that about the same volume or was she louder prior to the police arriving?
In the moments when she was screaming, it was louder, is what was shared with me.
So louder than the raised voice you can hear in the video.
Correct.
After Lynn left the building right around noon, a little after noon that day, did Lynn return?
She did. She returned to the building just before 1 p.m. And so it was roughly about 40 minutes later.
And when Lynn returned, what happened at that time?
When she first returned to the building, she was inquiring about a different topic, which was she was looking for a meeting that had been that she had seen on the city calendar. There was a city council committee meeting. And so that's what she was originally there talking about and asking. And so we were able to get some information and figure out what meeting she was looking for, and then find out that that meeting had been canceled, which is why it was no longer on the city calendar.
Objection, this is not a city council meeting.
And you can ask about that when it's your turn.
Okay. So when Lynn returned, after she had been escorted off the property with the police, she wanted to address a meeting that had been scheduled but was no longer on the calendar.
That is correct.
And did staff assist Lynn with this concern she had?
They did.
And then what happened after they tried to help her with that?
So after we were able to resolve that financial strategy committee meeting of the city council meeting had been canceled and rescheduled to a different date. Then she hung out in the building, stayed in the building, sitting in the lobby. And then a little while later, she came back up to the desk and started inquiring about meeting with the city manager again. So back to the same topic that we had been talking to her and had already answered her questions on before.
And how did staff respond at the time that she began asking those same questions again about meeting with the city manager?
They explained that they had already answered that question and that they can she can email the city manager to try and request to schedule an appointment. And that we had already answered that question and that was her next step and path forward was the answer that we had given and gave.
And how did Lynn respond to that?
She continued to ask the same question and then got into a pattern where she would come up to the counter and ask the question, and then she would go sit down, and then she would call us on the telephone and ask the same question. And we were alternating back and forth between her asking the question at the counter and her asking the question over the telephone. And that occurred, I think there was 5 or more of those kind of cycles back and forth.
And was that distracting the staff from helping others or completing other tasks at the time?
It was disruptive to them being able to complete their other tasks and kind of government operations work that they needed to do, as well as then taking the time from them being able to complete those other duties.
And was Lynn raising her voice over the course of that? Was Lynn raising her voice when she was trying to meet with the city manager again with those multiple requests?
My recollection is that there were times where she raised her voice. I'm trying to remember exactly the exact kind of order and the timing, but we were back into that same pattern of disruption that we had been in earlier in the day.
And how did staff handle that situation with the ongoing calls and questions?
They were trying, everyone was trying to continue to stay calm, but even reached the point where then we just saw that it was her calling. And so we stopped answering the telephone to try and interrupt that pattern of disruption that was occurring. And then we reached the point where we had to tell her that if she continued, we were going to have to call the police again because this is a disruption and we had already answered her question. There was no other business that she needed to be there for, and that we needed to kind of stop this pattern.
And how did Lynn respond to that warning again?
Unfortunately, she continued.
With the raised voice and repeated requests?
Yeah, the same, exactly, and the same request of trying to meet with the city manager.
And did staff then call the police again?
They did.
I'm going to direct your attention to that screen again right there behind you. I'm now showing you what's been marked as People's Exhibit number 3. Your Honor, may I play a few seconds of this video for Mr. Mestrick to establish foundation for its admission?
Do you have any objection, Lynn?
No,
You may.
I think there were 4.
I'm just using. Mr. Mestrick, do you recognize what I'm showing you right there?
I do.
How do you recognize that?
I recognize this as body camera footage from a Boulder police officer as they are walking up to the Penfield Tate, the second municipal building.
And I'm going to direct your attention up to the top right corner there. About what time does it appear this video is being captured?
The time at the top of that video is 3:39 p.m.
And was this captured the second time police were coming to the Penfield Tate building?
That is correct.
And does this, or have you seen this footage before?
I have.
And does this appear to be the same footage you've reviewed previously?
It does.
And does it appear to be a true and accurate video of the encounter, the second encounter between the officers and Lynn on January 21st, 2026?
It is.
Your Honor, the people move to admit People's Exhibit number 3 into evidence.
Lynn, any objection?
No,
Was it no?
correct.
Okay, just wanted to make sure I heard you correctly. It is admitted.
I don't know I want all the evidence possible.
You can,
Yes, It's the
it-
evidence.
I'm going to stop you there. I'm going to stop you there. So the city attorney, it's her case. She can bring in whatever evidence she desires or does not desire. You can certainly, even though you didn't disclose it, I'm going to give the city attorney the opportunity
Use my
to
phone.
object. But the quasi judicial rules you were sent said you were supposed to disclose that ahead of time. But at any rate, you can tell me what you'd like to present, and then I'll give the city attorney the opportunity to object if she cares to. She may not. And then you can go from there. But
Yeah.
that is something for you to deal with if and when you decide to put on your, or if and when you put on
No,
your
I don't
case.
have it. I
Okay.
don't use my phone to,
All right.
Okay.
Karen
You know-
definitely lost round one.
Well,
as evidence.
well,
Let's see how
you
this
don't
one
get to
goes.
object. It's not a proper legal objection to object to what she hasn't brought in terms of a whole
Oh,
completely
right.
different video is what I'm
I
saying.
just don't know why she's using two
And that
videos.
is up to her.
Different body cams from different, I don't understand any of this in a way.
Any
And I
objection?
understand that, and we're going to try to make it as
All
easy on you as we
objections.
can. But the bottom line here is that she doesn't have to bring in the other videos. Okay? Go ahead, Ms. Huff.
I'm going to play, attempt to play the sound on this video here. So if there's an objection, I'll try to mute it as quickly as possible to avoid feedback.
So what's your question regarding that meeting, or
Regarding what?
regarding what you showed me?
Oh, the financial.
Yeah. So what's going on?
See it?
I did.
Financial strategy.
Okay.
On this. It was on this the other day.
Okay.
Selena confirmed that, see how there's cancel?
Yeah.
on some things?
Right.
Okay. Well, this was on there 2 days ago.
Okay.
And I put it on my calendar for today from 1 to 2:30.
Okay.
And then today, it was just gone.
Okay.
Like, and they aren't supposed to just, 1 minute's there and you have to think, am I crazy? Is it something I did?
Okay.
Did I get the wrong date?
Did
I'm very
you-
judicious about being specific. and
Okay.
correct. And so Selena, or no, it was Meg's called the people in financial services to
Okay.
see what had happened, why they just erased the meeting rather
Okay.
than putting canceled, so that I know I'm not crazy and got the wrong date or something. So I
Okay.
had to come down here and Meg's credit to her job. I said, call me for a recommendation, figured it out and alerted them so that they would know not to do that again. Because
Okay.
the public depends on this calendar being correct. And
Okay.
when it just poof disappears, I shouldn't have to go through the anxiety of thinking that I've got cognitive decline or I'm senile or I'm,
Okay.
I'm 72 and I've been going through this retrofit thing for 400 and, let me see, days.
And I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
447 days.
And what was your name, ma'am? I'm
Lynn.
so- Lynn. What's your last name?
Siegel.
Siegel.
Hi,
Okay.
what are you doing? Come and get me anytime. Take me away. It'll be warmer in jail. I can't use this retrofit that they offer me.
So Lynn, so you came down and you talked to him about the meeting disappearing, and then sounds like officers came and kind of asked you to leave, and then what
No,
brought
that
you
was
back?
before. That was before.
Okay. What brought you in the first time?
I need to meet with Maria for 447 days to deal with this retrofit. I'm very cold. I'm 72 years old. The city. Here, just a minute.
So, Mr. Meschuk, these are the complaints that Lynn had already brought to the city's attention earlier that day, right?
The desire to have a meeting with the city manager and the issues around the retrofit are the things that we had been talking about earlier in the day, prior to her leaving the building the first time.
Okay. And the volume of Lynn's voice in this video, is it higher than the volume of her voice when she was speaking with the staff about it previously, before the police arrived?
This interaction that we see with her sitting is kind of a normal volume interaction. Some of the previous interactions that involved yelling, it was much louder.
Okay, and that was before the police arrived. That's not captured in this video.
Correct.
And last question before I play another clip. Had the staff tried to address these concerns of Lynn's to the best of their ability by the time the police were arriving?
They had, and that unfortunately, that started into this pattern of coming up to the counter and then calling and then coming up to the counter, and it was the same cycle with the same desire of wanting to be able to schedule a meeting with the city manager, and that's what then led to what I already described of them and having to call the police for a second time.
Play another.
Everything that happened, so.
Lynn, I want to make sure that we can help you also achieve the
There's
goal that you
yeah.
are looking to accomplish. So you want to meet with the city manager.
Yeah,
That is your ultimate
with
goal.
Maria, yeah.
Right? I just
It's
talked
been
to this,
months,
I talked to this very nice lady back there who works here, and she said that they have given you the steps and instructed you how to go about
Yeah.
that. So I can tell you from experience with how the city is set up and how policies, step by one, how policies work. If you would like to meet with the city manager, the only way you're going to be able to make that work is by going through exactly the steps that this lady outlined for you. There is no shortcut. There is no better way, no faster way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, right. I trust that you have all of the documentation. Please go through the proper channels to make that happen. Because if you really have something, which it sounds like you do, that you need to take up with the city manager, I want you to be able to do that. Right. That's the ideal outcome here.
Oh, she
Right.
knows. I mean,
Now-
she's a busy person.
100%.
And I'm a very cold person, and I'm 72.
100%.
I'm not gonna live that longer. I hope I don't have to live that much longer.
Can I just
I really
explain one more
pray.
thing to you
Go
real
ahead,
quick, because this
sure.
is important
Yeah.
to me. So these ladies that work back here, right? If you come in here and like screaming at them and yelling, they get scared, right? Because they don't know what's about to happen. They don't know who you are. They don't know a whole lot about what's going on. So it's kind of like they're being put in this position where they feel intimidated, they don't feel safe. And that's something that we can't have happen. So what I would ask you to do,
I wasn't-
especially because
I haven't yelled for 4 hours. I haven't done anything. I've just sat here.
Right. Lynn, just let me finish my train of thought. real quick.
Sure,
It is
sorry.
10 minutes to 4,
Uh-huh.
right? So they're going to be closing here. in
I
10
know
minutes
that.
anyway. Until or unless you have a meeting scheduled with the city manager, I would kindly ask you to refrain from coming to this specific place or this specific venue of the city, because there is nothing that they are going to be able to do for you other than reiterate the steps to you that you need to go through. In other words, there is no value in you coming back here and trying to do the same
I
thing.
know very
over.
well, there's no value. I've waited 447 days.
I-
I know.
I hear you.
There's no value.
There
I
is
get it.
value in you going through the proper channels to try and
It's not
contact.
happening.
It
Look
just
right
needs.
there.
It might
Oh my
be
God, these people are so nice.
really sorry.
447
But
days.
Lynn, you coming back here and causing a scene and having the police come out here and intimidating
I
those
didn't-
ladies that work there.
I
Well, we've
didn't-
been out here a
I
couple times
wouldn't-
now, right?
No,
That's not
this is
an-
the second
okay.
time you've come today.
That's
And
not
I
an
have not
option.
done anything since then, but inquired about things and inquired about this community outreach connectors to see if they could help me.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
then they talked to them and then they called you.
If
I
you
have a
have
right-
a,
I have a right to be in my place of public. I
Of
have
course.
the right to see the art here, to sit
Of
here, to wait,
and you are
and
more
wait.
than welcome,
And I will
Lynn.
wait for years if I have to.
Lynn, you are more than welcome to do that so long as it is peaceful and so long as you have a legitimate reason for being here. But it can't be screaming.
Was that not
it can't be-
peaceful that I?
I'm
waited?
not saying that it's not, but you can't be screaming, can't be yelling, can't be coming here
Of course,
to redo the same thing 100 times over. At
Of
some
course.
point, that's gonna come
Of
to be an
course.
issue, right? So if you want to come in here to connect with people, to go about things that you haven't done yet, totally fine. But please, if you interact with the ladies that work back there, be respectful, be polite, and don't raise your voice at them.
Mhm.
Okay, right now, Lynn, all of us have to head out because they're about to lock the doors.
it closes at 4 o'clock.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so we're looking at 8 or 9 minutes that we have left. So we kind of got to start getting going here.
Mhm.
Okay?
Thank you.
We can stand by for another 8 minutes, but Lynn, we have to start packing up.
No, I'm leaving at 4 o'clock.
So you see what we're trying to do here is we're trying to work with you. We're trying to find a compromise that works for both of us.
Yeah.
We're trying to find a compromise that works for you, that works
So
for the
what do you
city,
want?
that works for us. Right now, I think what would go a long way is if we get a little bit of give, a little bit of sort of understanding from you.
I'm
So-
very understanding
okay.
of you.
So a good sign of that, a good demonstration of that would be, hey, I hear what these officers are saying. Today was not the best day that I had here.
Yeah.
Let's kind of wrap this
well,
up.
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And let's
that's
start-
It's wrapped up.
and
Could
let's
I
start
please-
moving.
Could you leave me alone, please?
We can't leave
Until
you alone
4
right now.
o'clock? I
No,
have a right to be here until 4 o'clock.
I'm just saying it would go a long way if we could speed this up by a few more minutes, because I also want you to be respectful of our time. We have community
You
members
can
here.
leave.
We
I'm
can't,
not doing anything.
we can't.
Then I'll wait until 4 o'clock.
Okay.
I'm waiting here until 4 o'clock. I'm sorry if you have to somehow wait till 4 o'clock.
That's
It's
okay.
because of me.
That's okay.
I have no desire to put you in the middle
So
of
she's
this.
insisting on being here until 4. I'm trying to find a-
Does anybody understand what the hell she wants?
I'm gonna ask you a few questions about the video. Did you hear the officer giving Lynn instructions about how to go through the proper channels of arranging a meeting with the city manager?
I did.
Had those instructions already been given to Lynn previously by the staff?
They had, it was the same instructions.
Yeah, that's
and
all
what
I got.
think the officer was trying to share was kind of reinforcing that, saying that there's a proper process and kind of channels, as the officer described it, to schedule an appointment. And Lynn described that, yeah, I understand that. And she held up her computer, which I'm guessing was showing something to that, maybe that same effect. I'm not sure, but it was the officer describing and then reinforcing that if you already know that, then it's time to move on if you don't have any other different business.
And in that video, and the video previously shown from the first interaction, did you hear Lynn explain that she's gonna wait there all day to meet with the city manager? She might walk in at some point.
That's correct. That's what I heard, is maybe a desire of just trying to wait to see if there would be an encounter or a passing of the city manager. And what our staff had already described to her is that she was not available that day
Okay. Is that
at
it?
all. And that emailing to schedule an appointment was the best path.
I can
forward.
fix this right here now.
And
That's all we need.
in addition to the repeated in-person
everybody feel
conversations
better
that
now?
staff had with Lynn about the proper channel, she responded by ringing the bell at the front desk repeatedly with those same requests throughout the day. So,
That's correct.
and then did she make phone calls repeatedly throughout the day to those same staff members with the same requests?
That is correct.
Lynn, this is not appropriate. It's Ms.
I'm
Huff's,
stunned, I'm sorry.
it's Ms. Huff's case right now. Go ahead, Ms. Huff.
Thank you. As the repeated conversations continued and voices were voices being raised and kind of escalating as the day went on.
There was kind of the significant yelling earlier in the day. And then the second time that Lynn was in the building for that longer duration, kind of all afternoon, it was a lot of the same requests. And I'm trying to remember from all of the kind of written notes, how many times or when there were raised voices, but it was more, the really big disruption was really about the repeated ringing of the bell, asking the same question and alternating with
Oh my
phone
gosh, it's so
calls,
annoying.
asking the same question over and over and over, when we'd already answered that multiple times throughout the day. And that's really what was creating the disruption in the afternoon.
And I guess with the raised voices, however many times that happened and getting in each other's space, were the police called multiple times, partially because staff was worried for their safety or what could happen with the escalating tension?
Yeah, especially in the morning, or I shouldn't say the morning, but in the first interaction when there was lots of raised voices and yelling, leaning over the counter and kind of that personal space violation. That's where really there was a safety concern. And then as we even heard from the officer describing here in the second video of that when you keep doing the same thing over and over, that makes them feel unsafe. And so I think the officer was trying to describe that in a different way to Lynn in this second video is what we heard. The volume was quiet, but that's what they were describing. And so I think he was sharing that same interaction and describing that interaction of that kind of repeated calling on the phone, ringing the bell. It creates an environment that makes it really hard to do your work.
Because of Lynn's conduct throughout the day on the 21st at the Penfield Tate building, what action did the city take in response?
After this second interaction that we saw, and then ultimately when Lynn leaves the building, when it reaches 4 o'clock and it's closed to the public for the rest of the day, we then reviewed all of the notes and the documentation from that day, and based on that, chose to write a suspension notice for, and that was then delivered to her to suspend her from the building for 60 days.
Were there any, excuse me, were there any other factors or considerations that went into the determination that she be suspended for 60 days?
Yeah, the other, the factors that we considered based on the guidelines that we have for building suspensions is both the number of times that a rule was violated in the building The other thing that we consider is whether an individual has been previously suspended from the building. And Ms. Siegel, Lynn, was previously suspended from the building. And so is well aware of what the rules are. And so our guidelines state that if there's a repeat violation, that the suspension length should be progressive. And so that was what all went into us making the decision of 60 days.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but from the repeated violations of Rule 20, in addition to previous separate suspensions, that led to the determination that 60 days was appropriate.
That is correct.
Does this suspension prevent Lynn from being able to communicate in other channels with?
Is that what I
the
could call
city
this? The real wackos
It
of
does
Boulder
not.
County?
Is Lynn still able to participate in events or meetings
We
that
started
take
with Lao.
place in the
It
building
continues.
through other channels?
There is, if there's a public meeting that's occurring in the building, such as a city council meeting, there are opportunities to be able to participate in that meeting virtually, including being able to provide testimony.
So Lynn is still able
still like
to
the frat
email and use appropriate channels to try and arrange a meeting with the city.
For those of you who didn't see it, the frat bro who showed up and bamboozled the court into taking the charge against him and putting it against some non-existent Greek entity. Oh my God, it was good.
Manager as she seeks.
That is correct.
I don't believe I have any further questions at this time.
Okay, thank you for that, Ms. I'm going to give you a moment to ask Mr. Meschek questions in just a minute. I just want to finish my notes. I have a few more sentences to write.
And those sentences are, I hate my life.
She just needs an Italian sausage and a corn dog, and that would fix her right up.
Maybe that's what she's writing. Who knows?
Okay, Lynn, it's your turn to ask Mr. Meschek questions. And that said, all the questions must be relevant, first of all. So it must relate to these issues of essentially, should you have been suspended? Did you violate what the testimony so far has been, in this case, violate a rule that's posted on the premises by the city manager? So it must relate to that, or it must relate to whether or not the length of the suspension should be 60 days.
Okay, I'm going to kick it off with some basic foundation, Judge.
Okay, you
Ma'am,
can
are you a
clarify
whore?
things, but that's what this hearing is about. So that's essentially what your questions need to relate to.
Chris, you know that I've been coming to city council meetings and actively involved in civic government for 37 years, do you not?
I do, and I think in my 21,
Passionately,
passionately, and in my 21 years of being with the city, I think I've known you for all 21 of those.
I'm going to stop both of you for just a second. So you asked him a question and he started to answer, and then you talked over him. This is being recorded and we need to make a really good recording. So when you ask a question, let him answer it. And then you ask another question.
I don't know how this is going to work because I'm a very iterative person.
Do your best, and we might have to
I
repeat
touch a
some
lot. I
things.
touch people, and I've got 3 misdemeanors on me right now.
Okay, this
And-
is not
and I'm
relevant.
scared to even
This is
hear somebody now.
this is not relevant to what we're doing today.
Lynn,
Lynn.
which I always touch people.
Lynn, I'm going to redirect you because that's not what we're here about today. So
Let's go, Lynn.
go ahead and ask Chris your questions. You asked a great first question. Just
Your
all I'm
Honor,
saying
I
is
am a
let him answer so we get a
neurodivergent
very good
person
recording
with
of it.
complex
Sorry,
PTSD.
it messes up here. I don't want to threaten your job either.
You're not threatening my job. I'm just trying to help you stay on track and trying to make a good recording of what we have going on. Okay? Do you need a minute?
I come from Mercer Island. Half the students in my high school class were lawyers, on the law track. The other half were doctors. They encouraged me to go further in debate and get on the law track, and goodness, I didn't.
Let's take a minute.
I just feel like I'm on the wrong planet, not only in the wrong country. This doesn't.
I tell you what, let's do this. Let's take a break for 5 minutes. We're going to go off the record for 5 minutes and give you an opportunity to regroup. And then you can come back and ask Mr. Meschek some more questions.
I'm in
Okay?
the wrong world.
Yeah.
All right, we're off the record.
It's a problem that there's.
You violated a rule or how long the suspension is. Okay? So you keep asking questions. They just need to relate to the issues that I have to decide today.
Holy wow.
I don't know how to do this. I'm not skilled in this.
And I'm going to help you as much as I can.
When I talk to someone, when they're going along, like when at some point I, got really upset that then I can interact and say, but that context was wrong, or, because I love Chris and I love Selena and I love Nuria. And this is something that's a process thing. That's a problem. That there's not an iterative discussion.
And that is the way it goes. So those are the rules of how these things happen.
That's how it goes.
So,
Well, I didn't intend. This was a complete surprise to me to have a suspension from this.
okay, but that happened back on January 23rd.
When ironically, the last time that this happened, I only had 7 minutes to be in that building and I screamed quiet because I couldn't hear. Everyone was.
And I hear you, but that's not what we're here to decide today. Okay. And maybe except with respect to the fact of the reason you were suspended previously, that could potentially go to how, is the
Right,
is the length of this suspension appropriate?
Right. So,
but you need
even
to
more afraid.
but you need to ask Chris
because
those
I'm going to
questions.
be pulled over. I have 3 misdemeanors.
Unless you,
3.
I hear you, Ms. Siegel. Lynn, I'm so sorry. I keep calling you Ms. Siegel. It's just force of habit. But I saw you writing, you look like you were writing down questions to ask Chris. So why don't you look at those?
I was writing notes of.
Okay, look at those. And to the extent you've written down something that you want to follow up on, or that relates to one of those 2 issues that wasn't asked.
What confuses me is they have described the situation.
And you can ask him
And
questions.
I haven't described my case. It seems like the.
But it's also not time for you to talk about your case. It's still their case. You're just asking their witness questions. Once Ms. Huff gets done with all of her witnesses, then you get to put on whatever witnesses you have, which can include yourself, and you get to put on your case. This is not the time for you to put on your case, but you can talk to the witness today about things that he said that you don't agree with. You can say, well, didn't it really happen this way? What have you. But it's not the time for you to put on to tell me your whole story. That's coming. but now's not the time.
Okay,
Okay?
Anxiety leads to constipation.
the time that I left the first time, did the police escort me out?
What I saw in the video that we all watched in that the first time the police were called is that then they said it's time to go, and you said I'm
Oh, right,
leaving right
right.
away.
I can't get away.
Yeah, I
fast
can't get away
enough. Yeah,
fast
yeah, yeah.
enough. And then
I mean, I didn't know.
You're talking over each other. So
I'm sorry. I'm not made for this kind of stuff.
that's okay. I just want to make sure we have a clear record.
Yeah,
And
we
it
know.
seems like you're actually agreeing on this particular point.
We are acutely aware.
So you asked a great question.
It was
Did
super.
the police actually escort me out? You asked a great
There
question.
you go.
He told you what he thought, and it sounded like you were agreeing with him that
And he answered.
as to what he said in response.
Is it your understanding that that I didn't know that they were there to throw me out?
Okay, that's
Did you know that I didn't know they were there to throw me out? Did you know that?
I am not sure if I know what your understanding of why the police had arrived, but what my staff had described to you is that if the behavior doesn't change, that we are going to have to call the police. And so when the police arrived and started engaging with you,
Oh, okay.
the reason that they arrived is because we called them because your behavior did not change.
Was I threatened that you were going to call the police?
Yes, the staff described to you that if you did not stop, we would have to call the police. And so the staff didn't warn you that might not happen. I wouldn't say threatened. I would say that they did warn you that we would have to call the police.
Did you understand that I said, call the police because there's nothing wrong here? And I don't know if that was the second time or the first time, but it was. I said that. Call the police.
okay. So that's not a question.
Did you know that? I said that.
I don't know if I know that. I don't recall specifically in reviewing the notes or the part of the time that I was sitting there in the lobby or in the office space. I don't know if you said that or not.
Doesn't it seem like this is a discordant way to put the whole sequence of events
Discord.
together?
I don't know what the hell she means by that.
When
Who's the nerd sitting next to her? How come I
parties
didn't
like
notice him
yourself
before?
don't even know what happened. When there is no evidence of any of the discussion between me and Selena and the front end staff, there is no evidence of that. And I know that there is a surveillance camera there because I had something stolen, as you well know, 2 years ago
Okay. So
in that same place.
Lynn,
Do you know, that's a question. Do you understand how this is a problem for me? That there has been no evidence of this screaming
Right.
other than the scream I had outside
I
of
bet
the
you're right.
building, which I am allowed to have. Because I was outside. I couldn't get outside fast enough to scream, to
Yep.
get the release the police actually acknowledged. So do you see how that's sorry, I lost my train of thought. You probably know what I'm leading towards.
Yeah, I think I understand what your question is, which is that I believe what I have described as the evidence and what the staff wrote down what the staff described.
The transcription, yes.
And even as we saw in the body camera footage of you admitting that you were yelling is all the evidence describing the interactions that occurred that day. And the yelling is the part that the interactions with the staff were violations of Rule 20 of the rules of the building.
Did you hear me say that I was yelling? Because I didn't see that. I must have missed that on the tape. And also
Ask
the
her question.
perception of yelling, like I could yell for you now and we could get a decibel thing
You're arguing.
and
not
measure
asking.
every little thing and say, oh, you can only go to this decibel for this discussion and that decibel for, like,
Inside voice, Karen. It's pretty
do
simple.
you perceive that
Most
I'm
of
a
us learn it in
person
kindergarten.
that projects well, that often speaks loudly, often, even in normal circumstances?
Oh, sweet Jesus! Objection.
I
No
have seen
question
you
pending.
speak
Make her
loudly,
ask the damn
and I have
question.
seen you and experienced you scream.
When?
The
Object for relevance.
I'm gonna overrule that objection. Her argument essentially, as I understand it, the line of questioning goes to what does yelling mean? And so what she's asking him right now is a question about what does he understand about her normal tone of voice? So you can go ahead.
Yeah, his perception. My father had a great projection. He was in plays and yeah. So as a normal mode of interactivity, do you perceive me as a person that speaks loudly?
I have seen you, Landon, in the many interactions that you and I have had together, both speak kind of quietly or in a normal tone of voice like we are now. I've seen times where you've spoke loudly, where you are projecting, and I've experienced times where you have shouted and screamed.
And was one of those times you heard me shouting and screaming was inside the offices when there was an interaction between you and me regarding my stuff being stolen by the city employee?
I would have to go back and try and recall those conversations that we had, but I know there was I recall lots of passion around some of those conversations of when your bag was stolen.
Can you articulate the distinction between frustration and projecting a threat?
An object for relevance.
I'm going to overrule that as well because that was some of the allegations that were made. That was some of Mr. Meschek's testimony
This is why we don't
as
object.
to the employees behind the counter feeling unsafe. So I am reading this line of questioning as going toward that, and that would be toward the issues that I need to decide today. So go ahead, Lynn.
So here's the standard in this court right now, which is fine. I understand it. A lot of judges would do this, to be honest. But the current standard is you just grunt, and the judge will interpret that as something relevant for you. And we have to proceed on that basis. Okay, now we know.
And
Did you go ahead?
I was going to say that I don't think there was an answer to that question because Ms. Huff objected. So the question was something about the difference between frustration and being threatening.
Presenting a realistic threat. or a threat, or the perception of a person that I am threatening someone. When, like, the distinction between a person being frustrated
Ask an effing question.
and
I would object every time.
someone who's very empathetic, such as myself,
I would object
and
until this judge.
another
is
person
insane.
that may be empathetic themselves, yet they are caught
I would
in the
object on
same
every effing
frustration.
question
and
Everyone.
therefore
until this got turned around.
projected as a threat when it is
like
a
it.
frustration of need
I would take the transcript to an appellate court.
is amplified in them.
I think if I understand your question correctly,
I understand your grunting.
it is that you're asking about kind of the difference between how someone behaves if they're frustrated and what is threatening behavior. And the way I would
It's nice what he's trying to do, but if we weren't in kindergarten court, I can tell you right now in a transcript, if you had adults, if you have a couple $1 million in the swing and your transcript has the witness saying, if I understand your question, I'm going to say this. That is not sufficient. We are not practicing law in the way it's intended right there. All you need to show that was a poor question is that the witness has to say, here's my interpretation of your question. Therefore, the answer is useless. I mean, it doesn't matter. This is a pointless, like, small thing with no consequences. But we have just gone straight to kindergarten.
respond to that is I think there are times where all humans, we all get frustrated at times, and there are ways you can express that and the frustration. And to me, that is the words that you use about things like, I am very frustrated at this situation, or those sorts of things, where I think it starts to cross over into intimidation or threat is really when you're raising your voice or you're yelling or when someone is not listening to the requests or the feedback that is happening, or kind of essentially violating the personal space of someone, where you're changing where your body positioning is, and in a way like that. Like, those are the sorts of things that I would describe as starting to get into that space.
No, you described that I was getting very close, my face, to this other person. Since I have no evidence of this from that surveillance camera, and that is not my perception, do you think it's possible that it was your perception transferred back to me? Rather than,
do you think it's possible?
like, perception is reality.
Your perception.
When
Shit.
your perception was not reality. Is that possible?
I think in theory it is possible. In this specific situation and describing that interaction of leaning over the counter, I have both the description from that individual employee and from the employees that observed it, that watched how you leaned far over the counter and started to kind of get in their face and scream at them.
It's hard for me.
It was my perception that you were a bitch.
I didn't scream. So I have to ask. Again, about the frustration of that person. And my also saying, I'm sorry, I don't want to put you in the middle between me and Nuria.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
And
what?
Have you heard me say that before? In other circumstances, like, and with the police, that was on the tape. I said, I'm sorry, you're stuck in the middle. Because I like the police. And is that your perception? That is an empathetic thing to do?
I did hear you say that in the video when you were talking to the police officers, and
F your feelings.
and I hear that you are trying to describe the intent behind that as empathy.
F your feelings, Karen.
Suspension
Nobody cares.
that we wrote for you for the building was due to the number of disruptions and interruptions and the repeated asking of the same question over and over and over when we gave you the same answer, and then interrupting the staff. They're trying to perform a government operation by doing their
Of
job,
course.
and interrupting that over and over. That's what brought us to the suspension notice that we wrote for you.
Okay. Given that you were not there,
Oh, good Lord. Does this guy have a peace shirt on? Is that what's going on? I can't see. It's hard for me to read that. Is that a peace shirt? Is he just trying to be a aging hippie stereotype? Is that what's happening?
how can you know what I was thinking and what they were thinking when I came back to the front desk and said, "Is Nuria in now?" How do you know that I would be saying that as a provocation rather than an honest question? Especially because many times I have heard that Nuria's out or Nuria's at home or what have you, and then she shows up walking down the stairs and I say, "Hi, Nuria," because we have a very collegial relationship. And that person to person thing is very important to me. Do you understand how important that is to someone who lost their kids when they were 3.5 and 4.5 years old? Do you understand how human relationships are changed in a person that has experienced that?
Your Honor, I apologize for interrupting. I'm gonna object for compound questions,
Yes.
speculation, and testimony.
Yes. You go,
And I am going to
girl.
grant all those. So what she's saying, a compound question means you asked more than one question in your, what it is you were saying. Testimony is you testifying while you're not under oath. You're talking about facts that are not in evidence in any way, and then also relevance, that some of the things that you were saying don't go to the ultimate issues that I have to decide. So, and I would further, I'm going to take you off of this topic because whether Mr. Meschek understands how human relations work does not go to the ultimate issues of did you violate a rule and was the length of the suspension
Okay.
Yeah,
appropriate?
she doesn't understand.
Okay,
I just thought of something else. Now,
I'm going to move along.
go ahead.
there were 2 people at the front desk whom I am not familiar with. Did you know that I was not familiar with them, that they're new? 1 or 2?
There are 2 new staff members at the front desk. There were
Yes.
3 staff members working on the 21st at the front counter.
Right. Selena was there, was Gianna there? Or what's the other person's name?
The other 2 staff members that were present is Melissa and Rosa.
Right, but the other one that I was thinking of, I can't recall her name.
Gianna,
No, another one.
So
Lisa.
I'm gonna stop you again, Lynn, because what these people's names were doesn't go to the ultimate issues that I have to decide.
these are people I know. So what I was getting at with my question is these are new people that I didn't know, that don't know me. And may be more threatened by by the distinction between frustration and a threat. Because they don't know me. Is that possible? Because I honestly can't perceive that I was in somebody's face. I guess I have to ask this. Did I in any way threaten any of the staff in any remote way, Chris?
I believe that screaming and yelling feels threatening to some people. And the interactions on the 21st in the building of the repeated asking of the same question, and we gave you the answer, but yet you kept asking it and did it in an escalated way, yelled and screamed. The fact that we had to call the police twice in one day, we rarely call the police to the Penfield Tate II Municipal Building. So those are the sorts of things, the actions that factored into us making the decision to issue a suspension notice.
If you were threatened in any way, why didn't you tell me that you were going to have to call the police? Or did you? And then I said, call the police because there's nothing to find.
Our staff.
There's no evidence. Zero of that.
Okay,
Is your surveillance camera as good for the front desk as it was when my stuff was stolen 4 feet from there 2 years ago? And I never found out why the guy stole my stuff. Are the surveillance cameras still adequate?
The surveillance camera was not working the day of January 21st. So that's why we don't have any surveillance camera footage.
What? Why was this?
Oh, good
I
Lord.
don't
Here
know.
comes the conspiracy theories now. Oh, shit.
I just know that what I was told is that the camera was not operational.
Do you think, would it be offensive to you if I were to come whenever, after March 22nd, whenever I come to the front desk?
It's government. They're incompetent. Their cameras don't work most of the time. But here we go. Oh, God. We've just told a paranoid person that the camera wasn't working. Here come the conspiracies.
Do you think it's incumbent upon me to ask you if the surveillance camera is operative that day before I speak to anyone?
Object relevance.
Just a second.
I'm going to sustain that objection. So whether or not you need to ask someone about the surveillance camera working the next time you go to the front desk, again, isn't relevant to the issues of did you violate a rule and is the length of the suspension proper? Okay.
I have practically memorized this whole list of violations. Any conduct that obstructs, impairs, or hinders the performance of a government function by an elected official or public servant is a great statement. But do you think it's also a violation of my right to ding the dinger or to call on a phone, which I did once?
Calls for legal conclusion.
You think, did I call
Irrelevant.
on a phone more than once
And stupid.
to the front desk?
It is my understanding that you called multiple times.
I'm flummoxed. I guess I'm.
Flummoxed. She's
Did you-
flabbergasted.
Did you speak to these people directly? Did that? I can't believe that I'm hearing the same things from the same. I mean, I guess there are just so many ways that human communication is completely inadequate.
Okay, so we have a question.
Do you see how people can be thinking they're talking to each other and it might as well be a dog and a chicken talking to each other? Because do you see how that can ever happen?
So Lynn, I'm going to stop you there. So in terms of how people communicate and not communicating well generally doesn't go to the ultimate issues. Now, the question you asked at the beginning of that does. You asked Mr. Metzcheck if he spoke to these people directly. So I'm going to let you answer that question, Mr. Metzcheck.
I did.
And how did you perceive what they said as anything less than a figment of their imagination?
I don't believe, based on what they described to me, as well as what they then wrote of what occurred that day, and then what I observed from the point that I was physically present, sitting in the office front area behind the front desk, that it was a figment of imagination. No, I believe what they described to me was accurate.
And what is your perception of what is yelling? Is this yelling?
I think when a voice is raised, and when it's elevated, there's a point that it reaches yelling. I would say what you just said was, and described, it was probably a voice elevated, but there are times where I have also witnessed and experienced you screaming. And
Okay, could you please imitate screaming?
Runner.
I'm going to sustain that objection. So we've already.
Okay, was there, what,
Wait. I'm going to sustain the objection. We've already talked about the perception that yelling is a perception. There's been a line of questioning around that. And I feel like we're going around in circles. And what Mr. Meschek believes is screaming or yelling, again, doesn't go to whether did you violate a rule, is the length of the suspension proper.
okay. Considering that decibels are not included in this equation, how do you perceive that you can presume that someone was truly threatened rather than absorbing frustration in their job? And the front desk where homeless people come up all the time and who knows what else goes on there.
No, I'm going to object. I believe these questions have been asked and answered by Mr. Meschek.
Okay, so what Ms. Huff is saying is that she also feels like we're kind of going around in circles in terms of the threatening issue. We have had some questions about that already, and this is ultimately running to the same points that you've already made.
Okay, so
I'll sustain the objection.
okay, so is it your perception that I threatened your staff?
the suspension notice that we wrote was for a violation of rule number 20, which
Yeah, and I'm
is
reading it right
to hinder or impair or obstruct a government operation. The actions of repeatedly asking the same question over and over to staff well, yes, yelling was involved in that. The repeated actions over that afternoon were what was the rule violation, which is what the suspension notice is for. Is about interrupting government operations.
Okay, after I left the first time, I was only there.
This is Mr. Ogden, he's court staff. So
Oh, hi, Greg, or Mr. Ogden, however you go. The way there were two, see, this is where it gets confusing because I'm sorry, I can't take a PhD in law instantly. There were two incidences, correct?
There were 2 times that you were in the building
Right.
that day.
The first time was about 12 to 12:08, correct?
I believe the timestamp, it was from roughly around 12 or a little before to, I believe the timestamp was 12:11 on the body camera footage when you left the building.
That was a much shorter period of time than the second time that I came back before 1, correct?
That is correct. My understanding of the second time you were in the building that day was from just before 1 o'clock, about 12:50, 12:52, to the time the building closed at 4 p.m.
Okay. The first time when I left, as soon as I knew that I wasn't welcome there, I wanted out of there enough for your perception, right? Did you see that on the videotape? On the body cam? I couldn't get out of there fast enough as soon as I knew I wasn't wanted there.
I did see you in the body camera footage that when the officer said, let's head out or let's leave the building.
And
You did pack up your stuff right away and go.
yeah, and there were 8 minutes before that, right? And I asked multiple times, right? But how many multiple times could I ask in 8 minutes? That seems like a small time, doesn't it to you? Like I have this perception that it's like harassment and like this endless thing, and this was 8 minutes.
you need to ask it in a form of a question.
Is 8 minutes like a really obstruction, impairment, hindrance of performance to government staffers?
My understanding from the time you came into the building the first time and asked the question about meeting with the city manager and the answer that we gave, and then it was an escalating path of asking the same question and shouting, and that did occur in that time frame before the police arrived.
Okay. Do you understand that the front desk staff knew very well that I could email and that I could phone to Nuria? I didn't know about texting, but I have other staff texts, like I text Jonathan all the time, but it gets conflated, but I don't have Nuria's text. I could text her really quick and solve this whole thing and we wouldn't be here. But is that a perception that you have? Communication was an issue here?
So Lynn, I'm going to stop you again. Whether or not communication was an issue here doesn't go to those 2 things I have to decide. Did you violate a rule?
Right,
And is the length of the suspension proper?
right.
So I'm just going to redirect you in that direction.
do you think it is provoking to tell someone that very well knows they can email and phone when they are showing up live? Do you think that's provoking?
I think if I understand your question, I think that question of if you come in person and you're asking a question, and if it sounds like maybe you're saying you already know that the answer is that you can email the city manager as a way to request an appointment. What the staff described and shared with you is that Nuria was not available that day, and that the best way to request an appointment is to email her. That was the answer that they gave. The justification and the reason for the suspension is that when we gave you that answer, then you kept asking that same question over and over again. You were yelling at the staff. And then when we called the police and you left the building the first time, then you came back and while you had a different question initially, then you returned back to the same question previously again. And we're emailing, we're ringing the bell and calling us, all trying to ask the same question that we had already given you the answer. That's the obstruction and impairment of government operations.
Okay. The second time that I came back, do you understand that I asked about the financial strategy meeting that was starting at 1 o'clock that I needed to know pretty soon because it was right before 1 o'clock? That I'd been so flustered from the earlier encounter that I didn't think to ask it at that time. I came to ask that. Meg's dealt with that stupendously. She should get a,
So
really good.
Lynn,
So-
Lynn, I'm gonna stop you again. Same issue, whether he knew you came the second time to ask about something that you meant to ask about the first time.
Yeah.
Doesn't go to, did you violate a rule? Or how long the suspension is.
Right. The second time that I came back,
Judge, you invited all
do
this
you know
by indulging her BS in the
that when Megs told me the resolution, I went quietly back to my seat in the lobby and did not bother the staff once. So it was 8 minutes the first time, and the second time it was nothing. Did you know that?
My understanding of the timeline is that when you came back to the building just before 1 o'clock, asking about when the financial strategy committee meeting, if it was still happening or because it wasn't on the calendar anymore, and we were able to get you that answer.
Yeah.
And then it was around, if I remember right from the timeline, about 2:20 p.m. when you started asking again about meeting with the city manager. And that's when that second round of asking the same question over again began.
Wow.
That's his testimony, and when it's your turn, you can testify differently. All you can do is ask him questions and he gives his
I feel so
testimony.
much for you, Chris, because you just don't know.
All right, so again, I feel like we're going round and round.
So
you
do you know?
Wait, let me stop you. So I feel like we've covered the same topics a number of times.
Well, there's
and
another issue here,
and what is that?
and that is that the community engagement group. Are you aware that
Right,
the
stop.
community engagement? group
Stop,
was-
Lynn, stop. So if he's aware about anything the community engagement group does, doesn't go to whether or not you violated a rule or the length of the suspension. So it has to do, and you've heard Mr. Meschek say a couple of times that the suspension is based on your escalating tone and repeated behavior. So his knowledge about other things or whether or not you felt provoked, the question is the behavior.
Yeah, and then you
Did you
displayed that
engage in that
here
behavior?
today.
Why you engaged in that behavior is not the issue here. It's did you engage in behavior that is in violation of the rule? And then is the length of the suspension appropriate based on that behavior and then also any prior history?
Prior history?
There was a prior suspension Mr. Meschek talked about a prior suspension, and then you had said something about it as well. So
The prior history,
prior suspension from the Tate building
prior suspension is fascinating to me.
that you
because-
you can talk about that when it's your turn. Okay, again, you're just asking Mr. Meschek questions about the facts of that day.
Do you know that I screamed or yelled very loudly? Quiet.
Again, so you are asking about, you already asked him this question for one. You asked that same question earlier.
And did he say that he heard me yell quiet?
I would have to go and look at my notes. I've been
Okay.
taking notes all along.
Okay.
I'll let you ask it one more time, but again, I feel like we're sort of covering the same things. And if you don't have a new topic to ask about, then we need to,
I guess what I'm trying to get at here is that there's a precedent being set by one, the first suspension, which was completely not okay to start with, and then by the second incident when I came back to find out when the financial strategies. Because
but you've already asked
Yeah.
the questions about it. I'm going to because I don't remember, I would have to look at my notes. I don't remember
Yeah.
Mr. Meschek's answer to the question about the first suspension. I'm going to let you
I
ask
guess
that one.
I
again.
have to have on the record from Chris that that I did a whole lot of things with the front desk on the second visit after financial strategies. And second question,
Wait. That's a compound question. So ask him, is that correct?
is that correct?
And then he can answer, and then you can ask the second part.
Yeah,
During the second time that you were in the building,
Yeah.
after you had asked your question about the financial strategy committee meeting and you had gotten the answer of why that
Yeah.
meeting was no longer on the
Yeah.
calendar.
Yeah.
Then once, and my recollection, but maybe I have the time wrong, is around 2:20 PM is when you started asking about the same question again about trying to
Okay.
schedule a meeting with Nuria. And that's when the ringing the bell at the desk and calling the front desk phone number, that pattern started happening when we again said that we've already answered your question related to that.
what was the period of time between when Meg answered the financial strategies meeting question,
The Chisnator
And-
could knock out this docket in about 5
the
minutes.
time when
You
this,
could clear every case in
all of
Boulder
this
County.
activity,
In a day.
alleged activity happened?
I don't know if I know the exact timeline. From what I understand, you came back into the building just before 1:00, around 12:52.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure exactly when you got the answer to the question about when why the meeting had been canceled. But then my understanding is that it was around 2:20 PM is when the interactions with the front desk began
Okay.
again.
Who called the police? And
Lynn, I'm going to stop you there. That's not, who called the police is not relevant to, did you violate a rule and how long the suspension is? I understand these are all questions you want to know, but they're not relevant to this hearing. I'm also hoping that while you're thinking, I'm also hoping we can wrap Mr. Meschek's testimony up. It's the end of the day here. 4:30 is the end of the day for the municipal court. So, again, unless you have any new topics that are relevant to those two issues, I need you to wrap your questioning up, okay? It's not unlimited questioning.
Do, am I a threat?
Oh, yeah. This hearing would be done if I was presiding over it.
I
I assure you.
object. This is not the issue or the rule that
Yeah, it's
That
the
is
rule
accused.
20,
that one is accused of violating.
obstructs, impairs, or hinders.
In theory, it could play into that, but this question has already been asked. Mr. Meschek, well, it's not relevant based on the questions that have been asked and the answers that we've received, because Mr. Meschek has said that he's testified that this, I'm pointing to the suspension notice. You can't see what I'm pointing at, but that's what I'm pointing to. He's testified that it's based on the repeated behaviors and the escalating behavior, not leaning over the counter and threatening. That what he did testify to that earlier, but he's also testified more than once at this point that is not what the suspension is based on. So because he's testified to that,
Okay.
that question is not relevant.
Then,
We are getting semi-close to the end here. I do not know if we get a ruling.
do you think it's incumbent
I don't know if
upon
Melissa's still here, but only
the
she knows.
people that are in this public building in the lobby to have complete quiet for your front-end staff?
No, I don't think it needs to be complete quiet. I think we are a place, we are a public building, and we're a place for people to come for getting their questions answered or to get what they need from their local government. So no, complete quiet in the lobby is not expected, but there is an expectation that there be a level of discourse and communication. And in this case, the violation or the suspension is based on impeding and impairing the government operation, in that we gave you the answer to what your question was around trying to schedule a meeting with the city manager. But that pattern of asking it over and over and escalating behavior is really what the suspension is based on.
And when I came back the second time, and I inquired with public meeting, the community engagement group in N101, was I not allowed to do that?
My understanding from the meeting that was occurring in that room, as you walked into that meeting, it was not a public meeting, is my understanding, but there was a meeting and you started to ask some questions, and then after you left, they actually shut the door to that meeting room. So that's my understanding of the interaction that happened with whatever
Okay.
that was.
Do you understand that they followed me into where I was sitting in the main
So,
room?
Lynn, whether they followed
And
you
asked
or
how I could help?
I'm talking. So whether they followed you anywhere is not relevant to, did you violate a rule? Is the length of the suspension proper? So, and like I said, we need to wrap this up with Mr. Meschek. Do you have any new topics that are relevant that you want to ask about?
I give up. Throw the book at me.
Okay, so you're done with your questions for Mr. Meschek. We need to wrap this up
Okay.
today. So do you have any recross for Mr. Meschek?
And excuse me if I'm a Matlock
Okay, go
fan.
ahead.
So Mr. Meschuk, Lynn mentioned that you may not have been physically present for her first visit to the Penfield Tate building on January 21st, 2026, right?
That is correct. I was not physically present during that first visit of that day.
But you regularly supervise and communicate with the staff that works down at the front desk, right?
That is correct.
Do you have any reason to doubt the reliability and trustworthiness of their accounts of what happened that day with Lynn?
I do not.
And as to the second encounter when Lynn returned around 12:50 p.m. or 1 o'clock that same day, were you physically present for that encounter?
I was physically present for a portion of it. At the point where I learned that we were going to be calling the police for a second time, I came down and I sat. There's some sofas there just behind the entrance door to the city manager's office, and I was in the lobby from that point on.
And you were able to observe Lynn's interactions with the staff at that point in time?
Yeah, and the interactions once the police arrived. And then when, as we saw in the video, one of the officers comes up and talks to the counter, and I'm standing behind the counter at that point. You just can't see me in the video.
And did you have any reason to doubt the reliability or trustworthiness of the reports that you were receiving from the staff for that second encounter with Lynn about what was going on at that moment?
I do not.
No further questions.
Okay. Just finish my notes really quick. All right, so do you have any questions, Lynn, based on those two questions, or well, 4 questions, I guess, that Ms. Huff just asked, and those 4 questions specifically being whether or not Mr. Meschek was present? And I'm not saying ask those questions again, but do you have, based on the questions and his testimony, do you have anything to further to ask him about his presence for both of the occasions on which you were in the building on the 21st of January, or his reasons to doubt his staff?
What is your protocol for getting the police to escort folks?
That's not, it has to be based on the questions that she asked. So those questions are whether or not he was physically present and whether or not he has any reason to doubt his staff. Their protocol for calling the police is not one of those questions.
Knowing me, knowing the many, many, many times that I come in and I've never gotten a suspension for dinging the bell, for asking questions, much in the same way as I asked them, which was waiting a little while and then asking if there is in. Waiting a little while and then asking if there is in. Quietly.
Get to the question.
Is your understanding of that there was any difference other than new staffers about the first time?
If I understand your question right, you're asking of the interactions on, or the actions that you took on the 21st, how they may have differed from other times you have been in the building and asking questions. And the actions on the 21st of asking about, is the city manager available for a meeting? She's not available today was the answer that we gave you. And the repeated actions of asking that same question, knowing that the answer is the same, escalation of that situation. That's what the suspension notice was based on.
Yeah, so why wasn't I suspended on the many, many, many times before that I come in and the same things?
Objection beyond the scope.
It's beyond the scope of her questioning. So her questions specifically went to whether Mr. Meschek was physically present and whether he had reason to doubt his staff, not why were you not suspended on other occasions. So you can't ask that question right now. You can testify later when it's your turn that you acted the same on other occasions and you weren't suspended. That can be your testimony later when it's your turn. But how we're doing this right now, how it's proper for us to do that, I understand you don't.
Very impersonal, very.
I understand that you don't understand it, but that is how this works. So.
No, it's not, I don't understand it. It's that I feel at this moment, I feel like ice and intimidation.
I'm not trying to intimidate you. I'm simply telling you how it works. You will get the.
It's not you.
I'm
it's
talking.
your-
I'm talking.
Yeah.
You will get the opportunity later to get that testimony in if you so choose. But right now, the way redirect and recross work is she can follow up on questions you asked, which she did, and then you get the opportunity to follow up on questions she asked.
Okay,
So that's it.
I don't mean to make you feel bad
I don't feel
by
bad.
saying ice and intimidation, but that was just a feeling. that
I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad. I'm just telling you how it works is all, and trying to keep us focused. All right, so can Mr. Meschek be released?
Yes.
Okay. And do you have any objection to that, Lynn?
Just a moment.
Quickly. We are already past the court's time to close.
As a constituent, don't I have the right to bring up any issues as much as I think they are
Lynn,
important to me?
Lynn, stop that right now. You
If the
will,
city-
that is not a follow-up question. That is not a follow-up question to what she asked. And it's not relevant to whether or not you violated a rule or the length of the suspension. Again, I understand why you want to know the answer to that question, but it's not relevant here to what I have to decide. So
what are you asking me?
did you have any other questions for Mr. Meschek related to whether or not he was physically present on the 21st of January? Different from ones that have already been asked.
Maybe I'm crazy or senile, but my understanding is that he wasn't there and he admitted that.
He did. So did you have any other questions related to that? It sounds like no.
Correct.
Okay. And did you have any other questions related to what was asked to him and testified by him? That didn't even make any sense, but the testimony he gave related to him having reason to doubt his staff. That hasn't already been asked.
Yeah, there is in the way that the police were called the second time.
That the question is whether
Because there was not,
the question is whether or not he has reason to doubt his staff. It doesn't have anything to do with the police being called. The question was about, does he have reason to doubt what his staff reported to him? He testified no. Do you have any other question related to that? Specifically to his belief in what his staff said?
Come on, dummy, you don't.
I don't know his relationship with his staff. But I know.
Do you have any other questions regarding that? Anything else is beyond the scope?
Be wrong or be confused.
And you can ask him if that's possible, if you would like.
Yeah.
But you need to do that very quickly. We are way past time now.
Yeah. Is it possible that your staff amplified the frustration that I had in a way that you would have perceived it as offensive to Resolution 20 or whatever, Case 20 or Rule 20?
I think that humans can always make mistakes, but I think in this specific case, the staff were documenting the actions that were occurring real time throughout the day in a very objective way. And based on my review of that, I believe that the details of what occurred that day are accurate.
Okay, done.
Okay, thank you for that. All right,
Yeah,
Mr.
good job.
Mischek, thank you for your testimony today.
Oh,
You are
finish,
free to
Karen.
go.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Huff, did you have any further witnesses?
I don't believe we'll need another witness, but I just want to make a record before formally resting.
Okay,
During direct examination of Mr. Meschuk, there were not any hearsay objections raised by Lynn. And as he clarified, he was not physically present for the first encounter and part of the second encounter. And Lynn did raise that issue, but from my perspective, it wasn't an objection and a request to strike any former testimony that Mr. Meschuk gave to the court. But if the court is interpreting it that way and is therefore striking some of the testimony that Mr. Meschuk gave, then we will have another witness to call.
there were no objections made. To answer your question, there were no objections made. The court isn't looking to strike any testimony. Aside from that, it being a quasi judicial hearing, the rules of evidence do not apply strictly. Hearsay is permitted. So.
In that case, then
That
the
was
city
slick.
will rest.
Okay. All right. So we're at the halfway point. I had hopes that we would be done today, but clearly
Oh my
that's not going to be the case.
We're at
So,
the halfway
excuse
point.
me. Lynn, did you have any witnesses?
Holy shit.
Were you going to testify? Were you going to call anybody to testify?
Nope, I didn't even, I had 1 day's notice of this and
Do you want to testify?
I'm fiercely independent. I just testify on my own behalf.
You can testify on your own behalf, but nothing you've said at the table today has come into evidence because you were not under oath.
I mean, I would have liked to have the people from the community engagement group testify because
They weren't, how can they testify? They weren't there that day. You were there by yourself. So it's not relevant.
They came and talked to me and wanted to help.
Related
And
to,
then they
no,
called the
no,
police.
I'm
They went to the
talking.
front desk and then the police
Excuse
were
me,
called.
Lynn, I'm talking. When I'm talking, you got to listen.
Yeah.
So the issue is what your behavior was alleged to be that day, and Mr. Meschuk has given some testimony on that. And based on that behavior and based on the prior suspension, is the 60 days of an appropriate length? So those
You're
things,
asking me.
I am telling you what the issues are. So based on that, to which no one from this community engagement group was witness to, there's nothing for them to testify to. They weren't there.
Oh, as to the second part, which is the
As-
first time,
What's that?
as to either the first part of the verbal assault or whatever it is, and the second part, which is
the length of the suspension.
The length.
You can testify to that, but you can't bring in also 15 witnesses. There's something called cumulative testimony. So you can certainly testify to that. And if there's something else that you wanted to bring somebody in for, somebody who was there, a fact witness, then you can certainly do that. But it's not going to be the same testimony from several people.
My friend came in and heard some of this.
If your friend was
I
present,
just saw him on the
if,
video,
if your friend was present for some of it, he can testify or she can testify.
and he did business with the front desk.
But you also have to realize the quasi judicial rules required you to disclose that ahead of time. So Ms. Huff would have the opportunity to object to you calling a witness
I
who
didn't
did not
even
disclose.
notice it until I saw him the second take.
And that's a good reason for not disclosing it previously. So I'll ask you, Ms. Huff, do you have an objection to this person? What's this person's name?
Michael, I know him. I see him all the time at Trident's. I've known him for 25 years.
Okay. Do you have an objection to this Michael person who appeared in the video today? Do you have, I'm talking. Do you have an objection to that person testifying as to facts related to the case?
I'll object for the record, just simply because the videos were previously disclosed to Lynn, and she did have the opportunity to review them and disclose that witness prior to the hearing. But since it does sound like perhaps we are setting another slot to address the rest of your case, as long as his information is provided to us so that we can also speak with him before the hearing, then no objection.
Okay, so basically what she's asking you to do is formally disclose this person. So you need to give the city, you need to give the court basically, so you would bring it to the front desk of the court, this person's name and their contact information. And you need to do that soon, because we're going to set another date soon for you to be able to testify yourself and then bring this person in on that date. And he'll be allowed to testify if you give Ms. Huff his name and contact information, not just prior to, but basically, I would say you'd want it by tomorrow.
Is that even relevant? Because
If he saw some of what occurred,
because I saw him just doing his business and leaving, and that's all I really wanted to demonstrate is that he came to the front desk and was helped.
if you want him for that reason, then you wouldn't need to bring him in because that's on the video. What I'm understanding you.
That's my point.
What I'm understanding you to say is that business is happening.
Yeah.
And he's there in the video, so we wouldn't need him to testify.
And I'll
So
know
that-
Lynn is also able to testify about that herself
Absolutely.
as well.
Absolutely.
That'd
So,
be easier than me spending the rest of the night hunting him down.
yeah, you can testify to that
I'm
yourself.
scared of hunting down people now because I got 3 minutes.
Lynn,
One for
we're
Paul.
getting off topic again.
Yeah.
We've got to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Mr. Ogden needs to go home. So what we're going to do is we're going to set another date for this. It'll be very, very soon for you to come in and then you can testify. So it sounds like you're going to be the only witness.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's look at that.
I think this case was today.
I'm just looking at the calendar for when I can fit this in.
I'm not sure, but I
Didn't
think
I tell you how to, Greg, didn't I tell you how to slot on Friday?
There's
Was it
an
Friday?
afternoon slot on Friday. I didn't put them in the calendar because I
Right,
don't want anything else done there.
no,
right. But when I gave you times
Yeah,
that I could do it,
But,
yeah, we could do it Friday afternoon. Does that work for you, Ms. Huff? Lynn, does that work for you?
What time?
It would have to be 3 p.m.
Yeah.
Okay, so Greg's gonna put that in the calendar. I'll expect everybody back here on Friday at 3 p.m. Okay, all
Friday this week,
right, thank you.
but that's
We're off the
Colorado
record.
time.
I just might be huffing and puffing.
Oh, good Lord. Oh, good Lord. That might be a happy hour. Did she just bail? I think she just bailed. I'm not sure. Let me see here. Just a second. It's probably done. I'm not sure.
It's Friday night. I'm in a mood. Definitely don't call me to bail you out, dude. I'm just not feeling it. I'm telling you straight. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. Is this case great? I think I know this guy. He's back again. This is gonna be good times, my friend. Your Honor, I apologize for how I fled the scene. I just had to get out of the Thunderdome, if you know what I mean. I was in a little pain my first time in the court, but I'm back with my complaint of a very special sort. There's an infestation, Judge. It's truly hard to bear. There's a critter in my trailer and it's living under there. Is it a mole? Is it a rat? He just doesn't know.
Hey, she laughed. Who knows that?
Mike says, is this the guy? The beaver mole guy. He was crazy the first time. Oh my, oh my. A beaver infestation is no laughing matter, but this whole dang story just gets madder and madder. The court sent an inspector to check the holes and poop, but he was hired by Mr. Weasel and I'm in a feedback loop. He's my next door neighbor. He's not insured at all. He owns another trailer park. He really has the gall. It's a major conflict of interest. It's totally absurd. He's the burglar investigating himself. Take my word. Oh my God. Oh my God. Mike just can't breathe. A landlord inspector hired by Mr. Weasel. You won't believe. It's a good thing I didn't start cocktailing before this one. The beaver mole guy is just way too much fun. The judge says, where's the escrow? The rent for November. He says, oh, I just forgot. I didn't remember. But I got it, Judge. Don't worry. The money is secure, but the inspector's report is clearly perjury for sure. I was not prepared for this. Denial of reality. I'm talking point number 17 specifically. Is it a mole? Is it a rat? He just doesn't know, but it's bigger than a cat. Mike says, is this the guy? The beaver mole guy. He was crazy the first time. Oh my, oh my. A beaver infestation is no laughing matter, but this whole dang story just gets madder and madder. The judge said, hold on, son. I'm getting quite confused. We were talking giant beavers, now I feel a bit abused. He says, my trailer's closest to the wood line and the lake. That's where the big beaver-like thing gave me a shake. But the skirting's done. So now I know the deal. The baseboards are ground zero. That's what's real. This is one of my favorite cases. I'll say it before it's over. I might have to make a song about this beaver-loving rover. So, y'all behave yourself. Stay out of trouble. Don't get hurt. And for the love of God, don't call me. I'm on alert. Just take a damn Uber and leave me all alone with Mr. Weasel and the beaver from the Thunderdome.